Hello fellow undead slash hunters, how you doing? I hope you're having a great day. And today I'm gonna be rambling why I stopped playing Bloodborne PvP. So the other day one of my mates was like saying, "Come on mate, why you stop playing Bloodborne? It's a fantastic game, it's so rewarding. And why you stop playing? I loved your videos mate." And I was like, "Come on bro, I played Bloodborne a lot, especially PvE. I played it like more than 10 times. I have builds for everything. I have builds from strength arcane to skill arcane, everything. So why did I stop playing Bloodborne PvP? To look at that, we have to start looking at the why I started playing these games in the first place and comparing it to the Souls game. So I started by playing Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, so it was, you can say, I played them in order. However, when I played Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 was already released. And Dark Souls 1 was my first actual PvP game that I played. And there's something about the Souls games. There's something about the Souls games that keeps pulling you back, that Bloodborne couldn't achieve. And let's all, I think everybody agrees with me on that, although of course everyone has different opinions. However, we have to all agree, no matter how many times you play the game, in the end, what prolongs its life is the PvP, co-op, everything, you know, playing with human players, against, co-op, whatever. Like, who plays Call of Duty campaign all the time? Think about it. Who buys Call of Duty and just plays campaign all the time? No one, unless you have internet and you live like in a remote area. Other than that, you can play 100 times, 200 times, 1,000 times. You end up playing online. Most people will play online because it's what keeps the torch, you know, going on and keeps the game alive and well and keeps it active, and you know, more players, more loyal players and stuff like that. Bloodborne actually had one of the best PvE. Now, if you were, if you've been watching my channel since, since I started, you know that Dark Souls 1 is my top game in terms of PvE because of the nostalgia, I believe. But also there's something magical about the world, the lore, the mechanics. There's so many things. However, when we're gonna look at the specifically mechanics, bosses, and stuff like that, I think Bloodborne takes the cake on that. I love Bloodborne. Bloodborne actually did a lot of improvements. Like, you know, doing combos. When I say combos, you know, doing R1, 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 and having a different attack with every R1. And then, by the way, I'm very disappointed that they're not doing this in Dark Souls 3. From what I heard and what I saw, it's like Dark Souls 1, where you have like 2 R1s and 2 R2s, and that's it. So that was a big thing that I love about Bloodborne, having so many different move sets. And there was so many improvements that the responsiveness on Bloodborne is unparred when it comes to, you know, Souls games. People used to say Dark Souls 1 is the most responsive. However, I think Bloodborne like surpassed it by far. Like Dark Souls 1, when you hold the controller and you play with when you play, you feel like you have full control. It's marvelous. Like I really loved it. Even the audio, like the audio and everything when you're walking and everything, it's fantastic. I love it. There's no other way to put it. And there's so many things that are good in Bloodborne. Like I played it like so much, but it didn't pull me back. It didn't pull me back, guys. It didn't pull me back like Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 1. Now, what's the difference? Why did Dark Souls 1 and 2 really, you know, you can really play PvP all the time and still enjoy it? Now, remember, what's the biggest factor, motivational factor for you to keep playing the game? It's enjoying it and having fun. That's my number one priority. Now, other people have different priorities, but if you don't enjoy it, don't play it. That's my rule. If you don't enjoy it and just playing it because you don't enjoy it, you have a problem, bruh. And you have a lot of time on your hands that you're wasting. But the thing is, Bloodborne, I don't know how to put it. Bloodborne, there's so many things that they improved, but there's also so many things that they did not, like that went 10 steps backwards, in my opinion. Now, before I start like my ramble, this footage, by the way, is from 31st of March, so that was like close to release, and that's when I first started playing with the arcane build. That's like my first arcane build where I was first dabbling with it, and actually I wanted to do an full arcane guide, like how to get the first fire weapon, first bolt weapon, first everything, and how to really use it efficiently, and how like arcane doesn't have hard caps like other things. I wanted to do a full guide, but people are not interested anymore in Bloodborne PvP, because I'm not gonna do it for PvE purposes when I do the video. You know me, guys, I do it for the PvP purpose. I'll show PvP examples, sorry, PvE examples, but in the end I wanted, you know, because people say arcane is unviable, and I disagree fully. I think arcane is actually one of the best builds, but it has a huge downside, which is one of the biggest problems of Bloodborne: the fucking visceral attack. Visceral attacks are stupid. There's no other way to put it. Visceral attacks are stupid. One-shotting people is just stupid, you know? I don't know how they, after 4 games, they still not learn their mistake. Actually, they enhanced this problem by giving, like, at least in Dark Souls 1, yeah, we have a broken backstab, but it doesn't one-shot everyone. You can literally have a guaranteed one-shot visceral attack in this game, and it rewards the best build, which is the skill build. So if you go strength or arcane, you get punished severely for that, and I really dislike that. Another thing that breaks the game, the PvP thing in Bloodborne, is the quick steps. Quick steps, although I love them in PvE, you can do so many quick steps in the game. Like, even with the small endurance stamina bar, you can still hop around like a rabbit. You can like literally keep dancing. It becomes a battle of dances, or dance of, you know, dance of hunters, you know, dance of dragons in Game of Thrones. But yeah, there's so much iframes on that thing that literally it becomes a dancing game. And I know Bloodborne isn't a Souls game, like, per se, although of course it takes a lot of things from that game, so it can have its own unique style. But I wish maybe the quick steps didn't have iframes, or maybe like 1 frame that is invincibility frame, or 2, something very little. But the quick steps, or maybe use much more stamina. Definitely quick steps really takes the depth out of the game, especially that everyone can do it many times, as much as you want. It seems like I never run out of stamina. I never remember me struggling to regain my stamina in Bloodborne. So quick stepping is one of the problems. Now another freaking problem in Bloodborne is the fucking guns. The guns. Man, I don't want to play Call of Duty. I want to play Bloodborne. I want to play like a Souls game. Fuck guns. If you look at an interview back before Bloodborne came out, or actually maybe after release, Miyazaki-san himself, the director of Bloodborne, says that they were really, you know, arguing if they're gonna put guns or not, and it was a very hard decision to put it, you know, because they didn't know how it's gonna affect the balance in the game. And maybe in PvE it doesn't affect anything, but you have to also think about the PvP people. You have to, in my opinion, no matter how many people, more people play in PvE, you have to cater to all groups, in my opinion. So guns are just unpunishable. Forget the blunderbuss. Let's talk about the guns that are actually used. Although the blunderbuss is still good, but it can be punished. It's a bit balanced. But shooting someone from range and then one-shotting them, that's stupid. That's stupid. And spamming it as much as you want. It's not as much as you want, but it's very close to that. With no punishing mechanic on it, it's just stupid. It's just stupid, in my opinion. Just spamming guns. Now when you play Bloodborne, you know, when you play with somebody who thinks, you know, he's MLG style, all he does is wait for you to attack, the wrong attack, and shoot you and just one-shot you and just finish the game. And then he actually sends you a message telling you how good he is, you know, because he reposted you in one shot. So I think guns are a stupid thing, a stupid addition in the game, totally all over the place. I think they should have, you know, stayed stuck to parries or something like that. Because guns, you know, hitting from range, you're hitting from range, not just, you know, like parries, you have to do it, you know, close combat. However, guns, you can shoot someone like a sniper from far away. Although there's a range, it differs from gun to gun, but it's still very unbalanced. And I think the issue here is mixing both PvE and PvP in the same combat system. So now if you're gonna, for example, if they're gonna nerf the visceral attack damage, it's gonna also nerf the PvE damage, which, you know, I think they should make human enemies have like a total different algorithm or something, whatever. I'm not a programmer, but I think that's a problem they're facing. And I think Bloodborne 2, if they're ever gonna do it, they have to think about this, or just make it in a time that is so, you know, in the future in the game that guns don't exist. Please, Miyazaki-san, please don't put back guns. I really dislike guns. Another thing about the Souls games is that there's so many different builds that you have like almost infinite types of builds. Like you can't experience it all, you just can't. There's so many things you can experience, put together different builds, different weapons, different school of magic, blah blah blah. There's so many ways to play, and it makes it so fresh every time you try something new. And in Bloodborne, in the end, it just ended up being everyone using the same weapon, you know, all the same 5 weapons, all the same guns, all the same armor. There's not a lot of stats to dabble with to actually make a build, and and so on. There's so many problems when it comes to that. However, in Dark Souls 1 and 2, no matter how broken it can be in some aspects, they are so much fun. And there's so many, like in Bloodborne you have like 2 designated PvP areas, and they are just so limited. And other areas, if you want to invade, you wait for like long time, man. Who wants to wait and just look at their TV? Who wants to do that? That's very boring. I want to press that button and invade straight away. A big example of this, yesterday I started playing Dark Souls 1 again, because Dark Souls 3 is similar to Dark Souls 1, and you know, you want to, get the hang of it before. And actually I had, that feeling that I want to play Dark Souls 1 again. And I downloaded my Mega Mule. Fuck, I'm not gonna play that game again because I played it so many times. But I downloaded my Mega Mule and I went to the depths. So I was playing PvE at the beginning, leveling up normally, not using the souls. And I got invaded more than 20 times. More than 20 times in the depths. That's like saying getting invaded in Dark Souls 2 and Shrine of Mana 20 times. Okay, I stayed there, but it was constant invasions in a 4-year-old game. 4-year-old. Bloodborne's been out for a couple of fucking months. There's a big difference, man. There's something wrong with the connectivity in Bloodborne. Okay, now you wait much less, but you're still waiting, man. In Dark Souls 1, okay, you wait, but you can find invasions always. I was streaming, by the way, yesterday. So I'm gonna be streaming also upcoming days. I'll put my Twitch account in the description if you wanna, watch Dark Souls 1 PvP in the upcoming days, which I'm actually really enjoying despite the broken backstab. And despite me still not, used to playing it. But with all the broken things in Dark Souls 1, I still enjoy it more than Bloodborne. When I was playing yesterday, I was having tons of fun. Even I was losing most of the time, I was enjoying it. The first thing, as I said, the most important thing is enjoying it. Another thing about the Souls games is the learning curve. Okay, some people say it's not competitive because there's so many broken things, but no. I believe there's a learning curve that is so, like, huge. It's very, I love these kind of games, and Dark Souls 1 and 2 actually offer that to the max. Like, bring a good player and a bad player, the good player can win every time. Why is that? Because it's like a game of chess. In chess, you can't lose if you're better than your opponent. Like, I'm not saying if you're better by a bit, if I'm saying you're better by way, much better. In this game, it's always about who's better in the experience, who has more experience, who dabbled with more builds and stuff like that. Nothing like, you can't just win by luck like in Bloodborne, just shoot and win and just parry someone but you can do these, but it's not as frequent as in Bloodborne, where you really can win just by putting the best gems and put it on a soul cleaver, spamming R1 freaking weapon, and just press R1 and you can win something. In Dark Souls 1 and 2, and it's not like that. In Dark Souls 1 and 2, the more you play, the more experience, the more you see the mechanics, the inner mechanics that the devs don't tell us about, the more you know about the iframes, how you use this magic, when to use it, close range, long range, when to roll, when to backstep, when to do anything. Like, it's tactical, it needs timing, it needs a lot of things which don't exist in Bloodborne. Bloodborne is just flat out action game when it comes to PvP. And don't get me wrong, I love Bloodborne, but you have to say it as it is, You can't just you have to criticize something when you see it. And I'm gonna criticize Bloodborne when it comes to PvP because they didn't handle it well. And the most thing that pisses me off, From Software didn't even say anything about that. It pisses me off, really. Like, they didn't patch Evelyn. That's like, fuck you in the face. Like, Evelyn is a broken weapon and they did not patch it until now. You can one-shot people with a gun in this game and they still did not patch it. How stupid is that? That's just saying, fuck you PvP players, and I really take issue with that. Because that's weird, because in Dark Souls 2 they went they went all out to please the PvP community, and it turned out for the best. Dark Souls 2 is still very active. But Bloodborne, like, Bloodborne, the newest game, although it's a PlayStation 4 exclusive, that's understandable, and you have to subscribe to PSN, but still, it shouldn't be that slow, and it shouldn't be that difficult to play co-op or PvP. And I think they should push and make more, more interactive with, the PvP guys, the PvP community. They should be more active. I think not patching the Evelyn is an insult. It's that much, because when you have a gun that can one-shot people and people are playing with it all the freaking time, there's a problem when you don't patch that. And when you don't patch a one-shot visual attack, there's a problem with that. I really dislike that. And as I said, there's something about Bloodborne that you can't improve no matter how much you play. You reach a certain cap that you can't improve. It becomes just how good you're at dodging. You just can't do something more, exotic like Dark Souls 2 and 1. And you won't understand what I mean unless you're a PvP player, like a constant PvP player. Because if you're just an exclusive PvE player, you might not understand, because PvE can be very easy compared when you play with an experienced PvP player. And you really need another tricks, to beat an experienced player. And that's what I love about Dark Souls games. And, all the weapons and things like that, they add a lot of value. However, on the other hand, I still have hope. Let's look back at Dark Souls 1. What did the Dark Souls 1 lack without the DLC? The arena. And then they released the DLC that actually has an arena, which, it surprised everyone. Although at the time I was still not playing these games, still did not get introduced to Souls games. But I know, like, everybody was excited about the arena, and that means they can do that again. And let's look back also about another thing. Look at Dark Souls 1 when it was first released. From what I heard, like, there was a certain point where, the online activity went down, and then when the DLC came out, everybody was playing Dark Souls 1. Everybody who owned it played it again, and the DLC was so worth the money. You really got your bang out of your buck, as they say. It was so good, solid DLC. And look at Dark Souls 2. I started uploading when the first DLC, the Sunken King, came out. That's when I started uploading. So it's been a year and something. It's a year and 1 month since I started uploading. And before that, before the first DLC, the activity went down. And then it shot off like it was so active when the DLC came out. And now when you look at the whole picture, all the 3 DLCs, they were very good. Very good. You can't deny that the DLC really added value to the game. And they, until now, From Software has one of the best records when it comes to DLC. They really did their job when it comes to the first game and the second game of the Dark Souls franchise. They really pulled it off. Like, the DLC were great. They gave the proper amount of weapons and spells for us, new weapons and spells for us to experiment with, new areas to play in, everything. It added a lot of value. So what I'm hoping from the Bloodborne expansion is them adding something that enhances PvP and co-op, because I want both co-op and PvP to be enhanced, not just player versus player. I want also the co-op aspect to to improve upon that in some way. I don't know how they can do that, but they should. And looking back, I think they can pull it off, but not fully, because you can't change the basics of the game, which are keep shooting and dodging. So it's gonna end up that way, but at least to give us something fresh, like, at least I want to see 20 weapons, at least 20 armors. I want to see an arena, I want to see new covenants, I want to see stuff like that. And another thing that really put my hopes up is that Dark Souls 1 and 2 were DLC. This one is an expansion. They said it's an expansion. There's a difference between expansion and DLC. And if you look at the DLCs in Dark Souls 2, it's a proper 8-hour more time of playing, I think, if you add all of them together. And actually can be more if you want to explore and find everything. So expansion is, my guess, is going to be as big as, the original Bloodborne game. And hopefully they'll do something. I'm going to be playing it when the expansion comes out, definitely. But until now, for now, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to do any Bloodborne videos, although I have like every weapon I can do review for, but there's no audience. First of all, a lot of people are not interested, and myself, I'm not enjoying it. And as I said, I'll never do something I don't enjoy. Everything I do on this channel, I enjoy with a passion, because this is my hobby, and this is one of my hobbies. And yeah, I want to see Bloodborne get, you know, I want it to improve. I want the expansion. I want them to see that, I want them to like show that they appreciate the PvP community, which actually are the most loyal customers in my opinion when it comes to From Software, because they're the most who play it and the most who let their friends play it and experience that thing about, you know, these extremely special games. And hopefully they learn their mistakes in Dark Souls 3 and they actually try to improve these aspects. And I really don't want to see another Bloodborne PvP system in Dark Souls 2. And hopefully they fix these, and I hope that the expansion will be good. And guys, I recommend you to play Dark Souls 1 if you never did. Like, try your best to play it, because it's really one of the best games ever. I really enjoying the PvP. I'm going back to Dark Souls 1. I don't think I can ever play Dark Souls 2 again, unless maybe I get bored Dark Souls 2 like way ahead in the future. But for now, I played it so much that I can't play. I can't even think about Dark Souls 2. I played it so like too much. So be on the lookout on the channel. I'm gonna be doing a major event on Dark Souls 1 Arena on the PlayStation 3 at least. I'm gonna try my best to also do it on the PC on Xbox 360. And if you're one of the, you know, guys who like to do events and, you know, like be responsible and kind of things, please send me a message or put your comment and tell me that you're ready to, you know, to host and do all these things in the Xbox and PC. And thanks a lot guys for watching, and forgive me for keeping you that long and watching me, you know, and listening to me rambling. Well, thank you very much, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.